Hi, my name is Ken Gidge, and this is the Art of Politics. Of course, I'm the good guy. I'm the Democrat and the Republican. Dave is not here. I don't know where he is. He's late, and that's not like Dave. Dave likes doing TV. He's getting to be quite a ham about that, and so I don't know where David is. But the hell is that? What's that going on there? Fred, get. All right.
Hi, I'm Dave Robbins. Ken, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Oh, we're having fun with Socrates.
That's right. That is how Harry Potter did the invisibility cloak.
Really?
I never knew that. In other words, they took an absolute green robe, like behind us, they see people who are seeing the show see sort of like this, this set behind us.
Well, that's because we're in the State House, and that's this is the...
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, but really, there's a green wall back there.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, there is a green wall.
No.
Because if we go like this, okay, I'm gone. You see?
And right away... The tenor of the show just increased tremendously, and all right, we're back to the same old stuff. I thought you'd gone for the rest of the show.
I think that's terrific. I'd like to do more of that. I'd like to have a whole gang of people and walking by, and as Socrates here.
Well, you mean Harry Potter and the Deathly Gidge?
Yes, I like that.
The Deathly
Harry
Gidge.
Potter and the Deathly Gidge. Well, we talked about Socrates before. I just want to repeat something about Socrates. I think it's very important. Now, Socrates was a great thinker close to 2,500 years ago, 450 some odd years before Jesus Christ was born. This man, who was supposedly a stonecutter, talked to a gentleman named Plato, and Plato wrote everything down that Socrates said. And to this very day, people study his work, written down by Plato. And one thing that he said, especially about politicians, you must have a love far greater than politics to be a great or a good leader or a political leader. Because if you don't have a greater love, then you'll fall into the trap of power, of what the political office can do. Of course, that's very difficult up here in New Hampshire. There's no power, no money.
Certainly for us as state representatives.
Okay, so what is yours? Do you have a love greater than politics?
I do.
What is it?
I do. I love being a parent, children, my spouse, just the joy of living, just being here.
No. That doesn't work. Would you, if your wife said, I don't want you in politics anymore, you're done, would you quit?
Yeah, I might. I mean, I don't...
You might.
I might,
But
yeah.
you tell everybody that your great love is family, and you have to think about this. If she had a good reason, would you quit?
Yep. If it was going to impact our relationship in an inappropriate way, yes, I would.
Well, how about if she was just plainly unhappy?
We'd talk about it.
Oh, I see. So she can be unhappy and you can do the job.
Possible, yeah.
No,
talk about being a straight man.
You have to have a lot. You have to have something, and mine is art.
Listen, for one thing, there is absolutely no concrete evidence that this guy existed. All of this depends on Plato. For all we know, Plato was out smoking a joint somewhere, and he said, "Oh wow, let's go after the mushrooms."
Whatever he was smoking, there ought to be a lot of it, because you can't say something, and 2,500 years later, people are studying the words and the philosophy. This person has influenced millions of people, millions of thinkers all around the world. You name a philosopher and they've studied him.
All right. Here's a bit of philosophy. If a tree falls in the woods and nobody's there, does it make a noise?
Who cares?
Well, why would anybody care? Why would anybody care about Plato?
Who cares?
Why would it? It's a philosophical
I
argument.
just made a comment of what he said about being a good politician, and you failed. You failed. If your wife said, I'm going to be very
you know
unhappy, we'd have to talk about it. You can do it, and she can be unhappy.
You know what? I take it as a high compliment that I failed in being a good politician. You know what that means? That means I'm a better human being. Thank you.
No, that's that's typical Republican. No. If you're a bad politician, you're a bad politician. So that makes you a better human being?
Well, according to what you were talking about.
No, I don't.
Oh,
I didn't say that.
Well,
I like this philosophy.
We're talking about.
Right,
Let me kind of say, you know, and the folks here may not know this. Our son Joshua, got married last week on Friday, a few days ago. Married a wonderful, wonderful woman, Lisa and Josh Robbins, and of course they are now honeymooning as we speak in Cancun. And what's happening in Cancun? Oh, hurricane warnings. God love them, they're down there, flowing away. But the reason I brought that up, one of the reasons I brought that up is Lisa's father-in-law is a fellow named Charles Griswold. Charles Griswold used to be chair of the philosophy department at BU, and he's stepped down from being chair, and he's now teaching. So maybe we ought to have Charles on sometime. To talk Plato.
But the interesting thing about now we're talking politics, but actually what we're talking also is philosophy, and definitely in politics there's a lot of philosophy. But what is not explained, it hasn't been explained to you, and I certainly had to learn it, is Socrates had what is called a school. Not a school, as you know, a school, but a philosophical school. Very, very different. You cannot learn in books what this person has said and done and created. You have to live the life. So I'm not sure if your now father, I guess he's, your son's father-in-law.
Right.
Correct? I'm not sure if he could pass the test of Socrates. He took a college, and they used the books. But what did they do philosophical? Did they give up something? Did they meditate? Did they do something important for the community? What did these people do?
What people?
The people that he taught.
Oh, you mean Socrates?
No, your father-in-law.
Oh, okay. Well, he's not my father-in-law.
Well, your son's father-in-law. What would he be to you now?
That's right. Pardon me?
What relation?
Well, I hope a good friend. We're getting there. I want to get to know him more and better. And Lisa's mom and dad are great. They're great human beings, and they did a heck of a job. Now,
where did they get married?
They got married at the Parker House in Boston.
The Parker House?
Yes.
Oh my God!
It was a wonderful, wonderful ceremony. Got married there, had their pictures taken before the ceremony out at the old City Hall right across the street.
Yep.
And it was just a wonderful time. Just a wonderful time.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Thank you. Had a wonderful time.
I know that
danced all night.
Did you really?
I did. Oh, I think there was an hour and a half period when I did not get off the dance floor. I was just shaking my booty.
Oh boy, was it disgusting, or are you a good
dancer?
Well,
no, I'm not a good dancer, but given the fact that most everybody else had been drinking, I don't do that, but everybody else was, and so as a result, I think I looked pretty suave.
I'm not sure. I mean, you're homelier than I am, and you're taller, and there's more of you. Well, you're taller.
I'm taller.
Because I'm a little wider.
But we're not going to talk about
that. Okay. Well, Romney hasn't paid taxes for 10 years. Now, why are you going to vote for this individual? Romney, an individual who has not paid taxes for 10 years.
Well, let me just...
here we go.
Let me go here.
This was tonight.
The word is out that U.S. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid eats puppies collected off the streets by his ragtag army of child slaves, whom he keeps until they turn 8, at which point he trades them for front row tickets to Justin Bieber concerts. At least that's what someone told us. Wait a minute, prove it. Well, let's let Reid prove it's untrue. Actually, that's the same kind of thing that's being talked about with Romney.
Excuse me. Hey,
it's in the newspaper.
We're going to elect a person who's the President of the United States, who basically has a great influence over the entire earth of ours, and he can't show his tax records?
You know what?
And somebody comes along and says, hey, guess what?
Let
me finish this
No,
Let me finish the sentence.
You know what? We've beaten this to death.
No, we have not.
We've beaten this to death. It's like,
boom! And you want to know something? And you want to know something?
We're beating the crap out of it.
If the guy had done something wrong financially, dishonest, don't you want to know? He showed 20-something years of tax returns to McCain when McCain thought of him as being a vice president.
I'll tell you
and then
what.
he took Palin?
You show me your tax returns, and I'll show you mine.
Oh, I see. So I love this way. Of course, having money in a Swiss bank, that's okay to you, right? It's okay.
We're kicking a dead dog here.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, not until he pays, until he shows his tax records. This is awful. This is really awful, and you put up with it. I love you Republicans. As he snores, as he snores, and I'm looking around, and I know that Richard, who is a good person, has the camera on you. Okay, I got a great idea since they can't see me. Yes. Romney hasn't paid taxes for 10 years. You don't want him in there.
Right, let's
Why
see.
I'll
tell you, I'd like to talk about how Harry Reid eats puppies.
And you want to know something?
With his ragtag army of child slaves.
We're talking about philosophy.
This is
philosophy. The philosophy is of honesty. Is it honest not for him to show it? Especially when his father showed 12 years.
This even speaks to it. That, dear readers, is the standard for public debate that Harry Reid set 1 week ago when he said this about Mitt Romney in an interview with the Huffington Post. He didn't pay his taxes for 10 years. Now, do I know that that's true? Well, I'm not certain. So, Harry Reid is making an allegation that Mitt Romney didn't pay his taxes for 10 years. And then when somebody asks him, I said, well, no, I'm making the allegation, but I'm not certain.
I wonder how that stops. I wonder how you make Harry Reid really look like an idiot. Wait, let me see. Would it be show him taxes, especially when you've already shown 20-something years of taxes to McCain?
Harry Reid made a statement that is true, according to Nancy Pelosi. Somebody told him. It's a fact. Well, somebody once told us that Nancy Pelosi was Satan, so... You know, this is, I mean, is this really the level of discourse that you want to have? Is this really the level of discourse that you wanted to send to on the public airways in Nashua? Ken, I'm ashamed of you. I am ashamed of you.
Typical Republican.
No, it's not a typical anything.
Let's see, one person not paying taxes but has already shown his taxes to somebody else. Now we won't show his taxes. Why? He's already showed it 20-something years to be Vice President of the United States when McCain wanted him, and yet he chose Palin over Romney. Was there anything wrong with this picture? Do you think Romney would be a better choice than Palin? Palin's in Alaska. He's in Massachusetts.
Tell me when you've run down.
Yeah, I haven't run down. I'm not going to run down on that, and I don't think people should run down on that. I think people should ask him and get this out of the way. If it's that simple to show it because he's already shown the text, why isn't he doing it? And of course, now he wants to snore again.
Same reason Obama's not showing his birth certificate.
Oh, here we go. The birth certificate, a birther. How do I win? There's a birther, there's a tax cheat fraud over here, and myself.
Let's talk about Chick-fil-A for a second. This is just horrible.
No. Let's talk about Chick-fil-A. Then we'll get back. Okay.
You know, this thing about Dan Cathy, the president of Chick-fil-A, and you and I think we would agree with this. I think we are in agreement that, I mean, comments like, I believe that marriage is the union between a man and a woman. Now, for me as a Christian, it's also a sacred union. God's in the mix. And then this goes on to quote, I've been to this point unwilling to sign on to same-sex marriage primarily because of my understandings of the traditional definitions of marriage. I mean, talk about this being, you know, homophobic and Oh.
But you know, I'll tell you.
Let me just
Go ahead.
one other thing.
Yep.
Those words were uttered by President Barack Obama in October of 2010. Huh.
But being what? Homophobic?
No. The quotes that I've been to this point unwilling to sign on to same-sex marriage primarily because of my understanding of the traditional definitions of marriage. And the second quote, I believe that marriage is the union between a man and a woman. Now, for me as a Christian, it's also a sacred union. God's in the mix. And sounds a lot like what Dan said. Wait a minute.
Excuse me. And what did he do? And what did Barack Obama do? Wait a minute. Hold on. Let's see. Are you saying that you don't agree that two people who are in love?
No, I'm just pointing out the inconsistency between the president's words at one point and the president's words at another point, and I'm not a supporter of Dan Cathy at Chick-fil-A, but I just think it's very interesting.
But what is your point?
The point is that if that Barack Obama said essentially the same things that the president of Chick-fil-A said. And on the one hand, the left is getting all bent out of shape about Chick-fil-A. And Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago, is saying, oh, no, we don't want Chick-fil-A. And Mayor Thomas Menino is saying in Boston, oh, no, we don't want Chick-fil-A. But just a few months ago, Barack Obama was saying basically the same thing.
No, wait a minute.
Talk about the hypocrisy.
This is the Republican.
The hypocrisy of this whole thing.
This is the Republican coming out, ladies and gentlemen.
Hypocritical.
Take a look at
carpetbaggers.
Republican. How many months ago he said this?
3 or 4.
3 or 4 months ago, yeah. Obama said that?
Obama, let's see, wait a minute.
3 or 4 years ago?
No, hang on for a second. Excuse me. Let me correct the record. Let's see.
How many years
President
ago?
Obama uttered the first remark. I apologize. I made a mistake. President Obama uttered the first remark in October 27, 2010, and the second remark to Rick Warren, August 17, 2008. So within less than 2 years ago, Barack Obama said, I've been to this point unwilling to sign on to same-sex marriage, primarily because of my understanding of the traditional definitions of marriage.
And what are you throwing the Chick-fil-A into this?
Well,
I'm kind of missing a point here. We're on the air. I'm not complaining about it. I think a person has the right to say what they want to say.
Oh, okay.
And I will. Well, listen. You better, David. You better hook onto that one real quick, because we need the opportunity here right here or anywhere else. I may not like what you say, the old saying is, but I'll do anything to fight to make sure that you say it.
So you don't have any problem with what the president of Chick-fil-A said about?
No, I don't. No, of course not. I really don't. People have their opinions. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is that that's where I was. I truly believe, still believe, a marriage is between a man and a woman. I have a child from my marriage. Having said that, I have seen men and women in love, the same type of love that I have for my wife, and I couldn't understand it. But all the way down through history, even in Socrates' time, there is probably 8 to 9% of the population are gay, lesbian, and homosexual. Mm-hmm. That's fact. And this has been right across the board. So you can either say a person fights a war, he gets a medal for fighting a war, wounded, and then all of a sudden he announces he's gay and they throw him out of the military. Does that make any sense for you? How much does this person have to do before we will accept him or her mm-hmm. for what they are? Mm-hmm. Going to war and be wounded, is that enough? That's how I look at it now. I look at it differently. If a person feels that strong, fine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will stick up for the person from Chick-fil-A. But I'll also defend what I believe, and you believe too. I believe. Is this correct?
Well, no. I incidentally, just to set the record straight, I believe that both of us voted to defend the current marriage statutes allowing same-sex marriage the last time around. I know I voted to.
You know, same-sex marriage is that's the wrong way to pronounce to say it. I know there are probably people out there going, "Oh, come on, give me a break." It's a union between two people, and love is sort of like blind. We forget that because maybe we're not as in love as we were before to a degree, that we get blinded by it. But with 9%, 8 and 9% of the population down through history being gay, guess what? There's true love there. All right? So philosophically, and they, you know, he could have been gay.
Or not, as the case may be.
No. So anyway, Chick-fil-A. Now you said that one of the aspects of this was that we, or I should say the liberals, attacked the guy at Chick-fil-A and were making such a big deal out of it. I'm not. What's the big deal?
You know what?
Both sides. In fact, the gentleman here in Nashville said, "Hey, I have gay people working here."
And he's going to be supporting, I think, an upcoming Pride demonstration or walk next. Actually, what's today? Today's
now we get down to the nitty-gritty. Does this individual who says this have the right to fire a person who's gay who's working for him?
You mean
that
the president
is a good question.
The president of Chick-fil-A? No. I mean, I don't. I think it would depend on. I mean, philosophically, no. Morally, no. Legally, I don't know.
Okay, so
I don't know in the state of New Hampshire.
Here is a good point.
Okay.
If you're fat, tall and homely, Richard, who I don't know what Richard is.
Richard is producing this program, and he's responsible for the. Richard is perfect.
Yes, but I've noticed.
Richard is perfect.
I've noticed how the cameras will go on you when I'm trying to make a point.
Richard is perfect. Richard is perfect. Thank you very much.
Everybody, yes, there we go. But the question is, should a gay person, man or woman, be fired because he or she is gay? Now, let's go back to war. People have gone to war and are in war. You know, you may be gay, but don't spread it around. But this has changed. Before, you could get literally thrown out of the government. You could fight a war. You could get wounded. You could be paralyzed.
What's the question?
But you're gay. But
what's the question you're asking?
Okay, but can this individual fire people because they're gay?
Legally.
Yes.
I don't know enough about. Wait a second. Wait a second. Let me answer the freaking question.
Well, I know that, but you got to speed it up.
You want to talk 90% of the time.
No, I want you to talk.
That's because I give considered responses. I don't just spout like a fire hydrant.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, all right. Thank you. I don't morally no, ethically no. Is it legal? I don't know enough about employment laws.
Okay.
I think that in most states there are protections against
that.
If, in other words, if that is the only reason, I believe that in most states there are protections to prevent that.
Now, there are people out there, we know that there are people out there who are dead set against gay people, so we'll ask you, if you owned a business and you knew a person who was gay, would you fire that individual? That's a good question. And
are you asking me?
No, I'm looking at the camera, the people out there.
I'm surprised that he's focusing the camera on you.
No, he's
focusing it on me.
He's not focusing it on me.
I love this.
He wants Barack Obama's birth certificate. That's where he is.
Well,
right?
It's, you know, as soon as he does that, I'm sure Mitt Romney will provide 17 years of tax returns.
Oh God!
I shouldn't have brought that up. No, go ahead. Let's get back.
I love Trump, but the question is that if a person is different than you. I mean, and it's so to the point of it's my wife, it's my family, it's my religion, etc. Do you have a right to fire somebody for being that? And I think this is one of the great problems that we have. There have been people who are discriminated against. We know that in schools. They're beat up and they're killed. We know that people have been fired who are gay and lesbian from jobs. How far does this go? How far do you want to take it?
What's your point?
Well, the point is, how far can you take it as far as murdering them and getting away with it?
Wait a minute. Oh, how did we get on this? Nobody's advocating murdering anybody.
Well, taking a job away from somebody who
But who said anything about taking a job away?
Well, excuse me, are we in the same room?
Yeah.
Were we not just talking about if somebody gets fired?
Well, no.
Can somebody fire somebody?
No, you brought that up. You're doing something in your head. I brought up the whole thing about Chick-fil-A because I think it's an interesting topic to discuss. It has to do with freedom.
We've already gone a half a mile away from that. We've got that. For free speech, we got that.
Okay.
All right. The free speech is okay. That's
right.
okay with us. We're talking about individuals who could get fired because they're gay.
If you're asking me as an individual, I don't believe that's a legitimate reason for firing someone.
I agree.
And in fact, as you know,
so would you go to Chick-fil-A?
Thank you very much. By the way, I'm a justice of the peace, and I will do free same-sex marriages, $25 to everybody else. Okay, thank you. Let's go back to it.
Oh, I love this. I love this. Please, where's this camera? Yeah, you must forgive him. Father, please forgive the guy. Don't do that.
Why not?
I mean, well, because you would do that because you said you will do that, but that just drives people crazy.
Why?
Because it does.
What is it that drives people crazy?
Because there still is a discrimination between people who are gay, or people who are fat, or people who are slow, or people like Rush Limbaugh. I love Rush Limbaugh talking about.
You mean who's a drug addict?
Yeah, Rush Limbaugh, the drug addict. Those people, he said the other day, those people wouldn't understand. It would make a big deal out of Romney's taxes, and that's the reason why they can't. Those people, and I thought to myself,
so why shouldn't I put a little promo in for free service for folks?
Well, I'm not sure if it's politically good. We can argue this, but
oh, Ken, I am not politically correct. I am not. I may be out on my keister next time around, and that's okay.
Well, where?
Out the election. I'm not politically correct.
Well, I don't think either of us are politically correct. I think if people are going to, because we're both up for re-election, I think if people want to vote for us, and I'm from Ward 6, and of course my motto is, if it's good for Ward 6, it's good for all of New Hampshire, and I'm sure you have something like that.
I'm from Ward 9, and if it's good for Ward 9, it's better than being good for Ward 6.
Oh, I see. So anyway, they hear us talk, and I think the interesting part about seeing us is they're seeing us. They're people out there are watching and how we think, how we react to different different ideas, and people can make a judgment and say, I'm not gonna vote for Gidge, or I'm not gonna vote for Robbins just because of the way they talk and what they say. But you know, we're here. The other people are not here. We're willing to come out here and talk about politics and talk about everything else. A lot of people aren't here. So we should get a couple extra stars. Would you agree? A couple extra stars for...
I think that what I hear you saying is we're out here exposing our warts, among other things.
Well, I'm not sure if I'd put it exposing our warts.
Well,
I'm saying
remember,
we're here giving our opinions. A lot of the people aren't here. So they'll get more votes, maybe.
Well, yeah, but we're having more fun.
That's it.
We're having a heck of
and if people out there and they enjoy what they hear, okay, they've got to realize that you're the bad Republican and I'm the good Democrat.
I thought you were the bad communist and I was the good Republican.
There we go. Are you still beating your wife? I mean,
I'm
still eating puppies, but you can't prove it. Okay. So.
Maybe we should stop beating puppies with our wives.
Ah. There we go.
Hey, real quick.
And people who are tuning in right now.
I have some exciting news.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know what time it is. I don't have the
clock.
Well,
that's all right. We've been doing this for about 3 minutes, and we've got 57 left to go.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sure the door will pop open and tell us. Go ahead.
Here's the exciting news. I was talking with Kevin Avard.
Yes.
And Kevin does a couple of shows on public access. Very talented guy, thoughtful guy, smart guy.
Oh.
And very much a Republican.
Oh.
But
Awful.
he sings beautifully and he plays musical instruments. And I asked him if he would consider, composing some music for us to do an intro and outro. And he said he'd be very happy to. And I said, well, Kevin, I can't make a commitment because I got to talk to Gidge. And you know what a curmudgeon he is. And Kevin said, I know what a curmudgeon he is.
You've heard of Lila, the great song by
I thought
Clapton.
it was Layla.
Layla, excuse me, I'm sorry. By Clapton, right? Right, okay. There is a part in that. Are you listening?
Oh,
okay.
I'm sorry.
There is a part in that goes on for about 25 seconds that would be good as an entrance and an exit. But you can't use the whole thing, obviously, because but in radio, you can use about 25 seconds, 30 seconds, and then you don't have to really pay for it. So stuff like that is really something very strong.
You would rather have
Eric
Clapton than Kevin Avard?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You would rather have some British person rather than a homegrown, Nashua native, Buy American, red-blooded person doing music for our show. You'd rather have a foreigner providing music for our show. I am shocked.
Well, what is what is the opinion about him at Chick-fil-A? That's what I want to know. And will they talk about it? You know, we sit and talk about these shows. We talk about this subject. Where's Avad? Where's Silver? Where are all these people doing these?
Well, here's what Pete's doing.
Do you think they're going to invite us on their shows?
Well,
have you been invited on their show?
Well, actually, I got invited on something the end of the month.
What?
It's I don't know whether it's the People's Choice or the People's View or something Carl Silva's doing.
Why?
Carl Seidel's doing.
Why?
Because I'm a Republican.
Because you're a Republican.
Right.
They don't dare to put me on their show. They're not. They just are so afraid to get me on their show.
They don't know how warm and cuddly you are.
Yeah. Well, show the cup. Show
okay,
the cup.
This is which one are we going to?
Okay. Look. Well, of course it's going to go to you. I mean.
Well, of course. But you know what? This is from the People's View.
Hey, what do we get?
And it's
glasses with gum in it.
What's really impressive about this is Pete Silva's. This is whoops! I just dripped on myself.
He writes.
This is Pete
Silva's saliva. Cup. You got Silva's saliva.
Silva's saliva. Well, no, I Pete. Hey, you're the majority leader. I didn't say that.
He has his own cup.
Yeah.
He's got his own cup, and he puts his name on the bottom of it. Yeah, we ought to take it outside, throw stuff in it. No, my point of bringing this on, because I brought this on, is what do we get? We get a glass, and at the bottom there's gum stuck.
Oh, is there any gum in mine?
No, not today.
Good. Not today.
They get these. Why don't we get something like this? We got Socrates.
We're not worthy.
We're not worthy.
We are not worthy.
I'll bet you more people who turn into our show stay more than they stay with them. They talk slow. I mean, I can't believe it. One subject can take 10 minutes. That's just to ask it. Okay, Harry Reid, we got Harry Reid. What about here in the state of New Hampshire? What's going on here that interests you?
Well,
politically, do we have something tomorrow?
Politically tomorrow,
1:30?
Oh, yes, we do. I'm sorry. We have we're going out to the county, and we have a county meeting. And also, I don't know if you're on the committee, but there's a group of us that's looking at laws that impact the counties and what we might want to suggest for changes.
Statutes. Okay, now here's a good point, because we both are on the executive council.
That's a big deal. Hillsborough County.
That's a big deal. Now, I think there are 3 Democrats, and how many Republicans? 16, 19?
18.
18 Republicans and
total.
3 Democrats. Now, you're going to look at some statutes tomorrow. Will there be a Democrat who's invited to sit in on this?
I'm inviting you.
But you can't invite me.
I just did.
Yeah, but
I'm inviting you. Come on out. You're going to be there.
Well, I'm going to be there anyway.
You're going to be there anyway. Stay. It's happening right after the meeting.
Okay, so can I talk to her?
Yes, if you can't talk, I won't talk.
Well, you don't hardly talk anyway. I shouldn't say that. You won't.
No,
They sometimes can't get you to be quiet. Okay,
That's
so
right.
it's our last meeting. Are you going to do this again with the Hillsborough executive? Be on the executive?
If I'm reelected, yes, I would love to. I think it's what I really like about this is the Hillsborough County delegation, House delegation, is the effective final governing body for Hillsborough County. And the executive committee that you and I are on, 21 members, has really the fiscal responsibility for the county. So we're dealing with an $85 million budget. And we can really get into it in a way that we can't at the state level. We can have an impact, we can make decisions, we can help. I love it. I love doing that.
Well,
will you do it again?
Yeah, well,
if you're reelected?
There's 297 Republicans and 103 Democrats. There is, how many did you say? 18, 19?
No, I think it's 18 and 3 or 17 and 4,
okay,
something like that.
18 Republicans on this and 3 Democrats. How do you think we feel? Getting rid of the social workers and you didn't have to, getting rid of the alcohol program that helps people. Suicide rates are up. The social workers would stop this. How do you like this?
Is this a Democratic representative therapy session? Would you like me to
Well,
conduct
no.
therapy? You asked me, how do you think we
I'm
feel?
trying to make sure people understand there's only 3 of us
Ken,
up there. So we've got to fight. And in fact, you are inviting me, and you're not even head of the committee. You don't even know if I can sit in on this thing tomorrow.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow.
And I'm probably going to be one of the only Democrats there.
Well, that's because there are very few of you.
Yeah, there's 3.
Well, now, why is that?
Why is there 3? Let me see.
Is it possible that it's because the electorate voted overwhelmingly to have a Republican majority in the House?
Well, we know they're not going to do that again.
Overwhelmingly? Well,
we know they're not going to do that again.
Okay. If that's the case, then times will change.
Boy, I'll tell you, some of you Republicans are going to fall because here in the city of Nashua, you guys went up there and started saying, well, this law or this fee, this is no good, and we've got to cut this tax, and no, we're not going to do this. But all of a sudden, it comes back to the city of Nashua. The taxpayers here in the city, the taxpayers of Ward 6 are going to pay for what you guys up there have done. And it's coming back. The mayor's already said, you know, our real estate, you know, there's going to be a higher tax on our real estate. I mean, because of who they voted for. Mm-hmm. All right, I would, to change the subject somewhat.
Oh, no, we don't change subjects around here. We stay on the same topic for the whole hour. Oh, this is something new. I'm sorry. Go right ahead, please.
So what was that for? You know, Dave?
Somebody's got to keep you in line somehow. You know, next time, I think next show, I'm going to bring a fire extinguisher, and I'm going to put it here. And when your hair starts to burst into flame, I'm just going to spray you with the fire extinguisher.
See, so this is how we get a lot of things done up there also in Concord, is you've got people like this who make comments like that and can't talk about 4 or 5 things at a time. And when there's 297 of you and only 103, what do you do to us? You go like that.
What did the voters do to you?
It's so
what did the voters
bad
do to you?
up there.
What did the voters do
that
to you?
The first bill to come up was a bill on bullying brought by a Republican against Republican state representatives. Do you think it's been fun up there? Republicans fighting with Republicans, and that's not counting the Republicans beating on the Democrats. Yeah, all right. Okay, what is this crying? Would you like to move on?
Oh, go ahead.
All right, okay. What is this crying that us Democrats did not balance the budget? We did not balance the budget, and now the Speaker of the House and everybody's upset because we didn't balance the budget last time around. But isn't there like a 9, and I'm talking about state, I'm not talking about Hillsborough. Isn't there like a $9 million surplus? Didn't we balance the budget? What are you guys going to do?
Well, legally, the budget has to be balanced. And if it isn't balanced, then God knows what happens. But it's a requirement of the Constitution.
Well, what's God? What happened? What happens?
So what happened was there were hundreds of millions of dollars.
No. What happens if the budget isn't balanced?
I honestly don't know.
They bring the guillotine back?
I think so.
Well, we got to find this out so they don't balance the budget.
But you asked a question, and it's a legitimate question. So if somebody says this group didn't balance the budget or this group didn't balance the budget, my understanding is that that's not correct. Everybody has to balance. The budget's got to be balanced.
Well, I know, but they bring this up, but now they're crying because they don't think they can balance the budget. You guys can't balance the budget.
Budget's going to be balanced.
Well, I know, but he's crying because
Who's crying?
there's not
I'm not crying.
Well, the speaker is all upset and people up there in the finance, and you're not upset about this?
No.
Okay. So if do you read the paper?
Yeah.
Haven't you been reading what's been going on? That how bad the Democrats have been because they haven't or left the Republicans with this mess?
I don't need to read about how bad the Democrats are. Every week I get a dose of it.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
Right here.
Okay. All right. So if you're so smart, what's next? What do you want to talk about next?
Well, I'd like to talk about us having a couple of guests.
Who?
Well, I would really like to get Steve Valancourt on.
Well, yeah, we've talked about Steve, yeah.
Steve, because Steve is in almost any room he walks into, he's the smartest guy in the room.
Smartest guy, absolutely.
And he's got a wicked sense of humor. He can be nasty sometimes.
Sometimes?
Well, sometimes.
Steve has been, yes.
But his people skills are not as sharp as they might be. And if he were sitting here, I'll say this to him when he comes on. But I'll tell you something. As far as knowing what's going on in the state of New Hampshire, I can't think of anybody better, with the possible exception of somebody like Kevin Landrigan from the Telegraph.
From the Telegraph. Yeah.
And I would love to get Steve on. I'd be willing to get beaten about the head and shoulders by him.
He does a show, by the way, in Manchester that is very like this. It's called Snakes and Weasels?
Well, no, Weasels and Snakes, and he can bring Weasels and Snakes with him if he wants to. But I think
and they plug it in, and you see a weasel being chased by a snake or something.
Right, something like that. So that's one thing. The second thing is we talked about having the editor of the Telegraph on.
Yes, we talked about that. Well, you complained about the Telegraph. By the way, I'm not sure how much time we have left.
Oh, we've got about 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes left. Yeah. Okay, I got to look at the clock. Okay, about 20 minutes left. I just wanted to. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. Last week you were upset with the Telegraph because they wouldn't write something, not necessarily you, but people who are
they won't publish anything we write. You or I or any other political figure will write between now and the election.
Okay.
They just won't publish it. They're censoring us. It's just a mockery.
So I called up Mr. Pappas.
Nick Pappas, yeah.
And I said, would you come on? He said, I will think about it. And I told him exactly your complaint. And he said, well, we got 200 people. How do we do all of this?
Well, I'll tell him in about 2 minutes. I can tell him how to do it.
You can tell him how to do it?
I can tell him how to do it in 10 seconds. Use your editorial judgment. Be an editor.
You can't do that. That's not what it's about.
I can't do that?
But no.
I just did.
No, believe me, having done not this but radio, and the papers are more into this and probably have always been more into it, of fairness. How can I write something without just at least the people who are running against me or the people who are running with me for the same, okay, they're going to be left out? Do they have the right to write something back?
This presupposes that the only thing that you or I could write is a puff piece about how good we are. Is it possible that you and I could write something that's meaningful that doesn't have to do with our reelection? Is it possible that we could write about a bill and why it's a good thing or a bad thing? Is it possible that I could write an op-ed about the censorship that the Telegraph is doing?
I don't agree with you. No, I understand. But you know something, what's interesting is, how could they be upset if we both wrote the same article? We worked on the same article together, and at the end we have our own little conclusions. And talking about
Ken, I like that.
All right?
I like that.
All right, okay. Kelly Ayotte gets this op-ed, her picture, and this whole story, and that's the first thing that popped into my mind was, excuse me.
When was this?
Weren't we, last week?
Oh, was
this
it? Okay.
week?
Okay.
I was going to bring it in, but
I'll tell you the truth. The past few days, I've been recovering from
dancing.
a lot of wedding and a lot of dancing, and so I admit to not being as well prepared.
All right, but I see this.
I admit,
I see this,
the little play on words.
Right. You got it.
Okay, all right.
Got it. But I see this in the paper with Kelly Ayotte, and I'm thinking to myself, I understand why somebody in the news business would not want somebody like us, because there's 400 of us or 200 within the area of the Telegraph. But here is somebody, in my opinion, a person who's a liar, Kelly Ayotte, comes up and writes something.
Oh, she's not running for re-election?
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
they're always running
right,
for re-election.
But this cycle, I mean, she's
Come on, it's
well, no, wait a minute,
they need a couple $100,000 all the time in their coffers. They're always running.
But she, you know, he can put this in without violating his code of censorship.
No, not especially a subject that influences this election coming up, and I think any subject will influence this election coming up, meaning Republicans against Democrats, and it doesn't make any difference if it's, you know, measly office like us here in the state of New Hampshire, you know, of us, the volunteer government, the only one in the United States. I don't know. I'm upset about all this anyway. But I saw this.
Are you dyspeptic?
What is that?
Well, I think it means sort of upset, you know, out of sorts. I just love that word.
You're the guy who got up there, who can't dance, and danced for how long?
I was probably up for an hour and a half at one time.
At a time?
No, you know, without sitting down.
Without sitting down, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And you were dancing with who?
Everybody.
Who would dance with you?
Everybody. I danced with men. I danced with women. I danced with children. I think I danced with flowers at one point.
He danced with flowers. There we go. I love that. You know, that's acceptable to me. Anybody who gets up, I always love the people at the end or in the middle where they're dancing with flowers. To me, that makes the whole thing.
Yeah, I danced with. If it was alive, I danced with it.
I got a story to tell you.
Please go right ahead.
I was, and I'm not going to tell who this was, obviously, but I was asked to.
Well, you're going to censor this?
Be in a. Well, I'm going to tell you what happened in a wedding.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was going to be one of the ushers or somebody. It was pretty, and I'm asked to go to this wedding, and I get there, and I take a look at these people, and I have never in my life have seen two groups of people who look so bored. They look like they want to be someplace. I'm not sure if half of them were alive. It was awful, and so when the wedding takes place, we're going out and we're all standing there, at the reception, being introduced. You know what I did?
What?
Every time somebody came up, I said, "Hi, my name is Elvis Presley." Elvis Presley, right? Dwight D. Eisenhower. Yeah, Mick Jagger. And I had 20 different names that I would use. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, the whole thing goes, hey, his name is Mick Jagger. There goes Dwight D. Eisenhower. He's Elvis Presley. I thought that was wonderful. It was such a boring wedding.
Well, I think, and what is it? Was this anybody you knew who was getting married? Or what
yeah.
Remember the family?
If they're going to make me an usher or whatever I was, I can't remember, and I don't know them.
Ken, you have a personality and a demeanor that would allow you to walk into a wedding off the street.
I'm not telling you I haven't done it.
You would do it. I mean, talk about Wedding Crashers, the movie. Yeah, but, you would do that, and you'd do it if you'd do it at the. I sort of expected to see you at the Parker House walking in.
The Parker House. Well, I didn't know it was at the Parker House. I thought it would be, like down at the Cape with the sun.
In fact, as it turned out, there were a couple of envelopes with money in them that were missing. Did you know anything about that?
No. Really?
Yeah.
Someone stole some money?
Well, or it may have been misplaced. We don't know. We're still hunting it down.
Well, listen, if you can't find it within 15 minutes, there's a...
Well, it might have
So-
gotten, there
Okay,
were two
what
envelopes. One was a
side of the
check.
family stole it?
Well, we don't know.
What side of the family? Ooh, now this gets good. You
It-
got a new, you know, you're going to check your silver if people come into your house who's you know, your...
Why would I want to check Peter?
Oh, silver.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
God. Check silver.
Well, you know, it's caused. There've been a lot of email messages going back and forth about this one, and so there's a check that's, I think, has had a stop payment put on it, but there was an envelope with a small amount of cash in it, and that may be missing.
Well, if it's cash, it may be missing. Is it? Well,
you know,
somebody stole it.
the happy couple
They lifted it.
left a whirlwind of stuff when they went on their honeymoon. So I suspect that when they come back, they'll go through stuff very carefully. Oh, great story! The happy couple next morning after the wedding went to get their car.
Yeah.
No car.
No car.
Car was towed.
Their car was towed.
Car was towed. And they went to the pound. They thought it was stolen. They found out it was towed. They went to the place to pick it up, but it closes at 12 o'clock on Saturday. So they didn't have a car. And hopefully somebody picked it up Monday.
Wait a minute. They're married in Boston.
Married in Boston.
They parked the car on the street, I take it.
And they live in Boston anyway, so they know about part. But somehow
they can't be trusted. I'm telling you, these tow people are awful. They really are awful. They're awful.
I bet you.
They're
I bet
awful.
you the tow operator was a Democrat.
No, definitely a Republican.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
I'll have to check
No,
that out.
a Nazi. We haven't
Nazi?
talked about Nazis. No, I'm telling you.
I've heard
I
about
lived
soup
in
Nazi.
Boston, and the
Tow
tow
Nazis?
people are so bad. And for somebody to need their car and willing to pay for it and go pick up, and excuse me, we close at noon.
On Saturday.
I would, yeah, on Saturday. Well, you know what I would do? I'd write them a bill for every hour that you couldn't get your car, but you were there. I mean, I'm telling you, these guys are Nazis. They're awful. They're tow people. And I lived in Boston. They're terrible. They lie. They cheat. I'm telling you, it can't. So they didn't have a car. So what do they do? Walk, hitchhike?
Well, no, I think they borrowed a car, and then of course they're going off on their honeymoon into this hurricane that's going on down in Cancun, and they're not worried about it. So
Okay, so what's coming up this week for you?
what's coming up this week? Going to Hillsborough County for a meeting tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Well, I'll see you there.
Tomorrow, and you'll be there. And then next week, heading a Child and Family Law Subcommittee, which is meeting on a couple of bills.
Oh,
We're
wow.
having a meeting, and
I'd like to come up there.
would love to have you.
All
It's
right.
going to be
Let me know.
Thursday the 16th, 10 a.m. And
Can I charge my mileage going up there and learning about this?
Well, yeah, because you'd be coming up. You can come up one day a week
I know.
and do that. And
I mean, it's bad enough we only got $100 a year now. And I'm not arguing about that, but I'll tell you what, if you go all the way to Concord, you should at least get your 55 cents a mile. I mean, go to Concord to do business. This is awful.
You will if you come
I mean,
up.
that's not saving money.
How
That's stopping people from going up there and doing political things.
How often do you go to Concord during the summer?
Once a week on the average.
Okay,
And I haven't gone for the 2 weeks, but I will make that up. I always go up there. There's plenty of stuff for me to do up there.
I usually
Set
go
up bills. You know, we can set up bills.
Yeah, I'm already looking at some stuff
But
that
you
I'd
can
like to
do that
draft.
as a state representative, and if you're not elected, you still go before the committees and talk about your bills. Did you know that?
I do.
Okay. All right. So why don't you give your address and everything? I'm sure we're going to be close to an hour. He wants to get rid of us anyway.
You mean St. Richard of the
St. Richard.
St. Richard of the Control Board?
St. Richard of the Lights.
Thank you, Richard. I'm Dave Robbins, and I can be reached at 978-500-9475 or David S. Robbins at Comcast.net. Love to hear from people. Next time, when Ken and I talk, I will have been out doing some door-to-door campaigning. We'll talk about that and have a heck of a good time. Ken?
All right. I'm Ken Gidge. I'm also running for political office for Ward 6. And as I say, my motto, if it's good for Ward 6, it's good for the state of New Hampshire. You can get me many places. Facebook is one. You can also get me on my email address, which is really simple, kgidge@aol.com, or my telephone number, and I will talk it a little slow because you may not like what we say or how we do it, or you may. So we'd like to kind of hear from you. And we'll give you a seat for 5 minutes if you want to give us help or say something nice. So my telephone number is 603-864-9332. Also, there's a Gidge World art site. We'd like you to, go and check it out. I'm an artist, do some very bizarre things. Maybe you can imagine that. So I think that's about it for this week. And David?
Ken?
Okay.
Good to talk with you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
See you
next
time.
week.